Next, I will discuss about the structure of the Earth. Okay, so this is I think the first image of the Earth. Okay, it is taken by a famous from the crew of the Apollo 17 in 1972. Because of its beautiful image, it is called blue marble. Okay, so this is the how our Earth looks like. Okay, so Earth is a large dynamic planet that has existed according to the best estimate for approximately 4.6 billion years ago. So it is the third planet from the sun. And then when the Earth was newly formed, it was a huge molten mass. And then as this mass cooled, it differentiated to regions of varying composition and density. So the Earth is made up of different layers. Okay. So as you can see from here, the Earth is not flat. Okay. Okay. The core. This is the core. The core can be divided into two. Okay. The core is the innermost central part of the Earth, and is divided into inner, okay, and also outer. It's very dense and very hot, and it consists of an alloy of iron and nickel. So as of overall, the whole Earth is called as geosphere. Okay. From the crust to mantle, the outer core, and also in the inner core is called geosphere. Okay. And then next we have the mantle here. The third layer. Okay, the mantle is the intermediate zone of the Earth between the crust and also the core. So it's account for 82% of the Earth's volume, and it consists of minerals such as olivine and pyroxene. And then we have the crust, which is the outer layer of the Earth. Yeah. So the crust is composed mainly of silicates and aluminates. Okay. So in the Earth crust, we have majority of it is oxygen, which are in the atmosphere. Okay. And then we have silicon, aluminium, iron, magnesium, calcium, potassium, sodium, and others. Okay. So this is basically the interaction of the Earth. So the Earth is divided into four main subsystems of spheres, namely the atmosphere, which consists of the gases, hydrosphere, which consists the water, lithosphere, which is the rocky. Basically, lithosphere is the upper layer of the crust, okay, and then the biosphere, which are the living things. Okay, they all interact. They are independent and function as whole. Okay, so they interact with each other. Okay, so here are the major chemical constitute in each of the composition of the Earth. So atmosphere consists of mostly gases. Hydrosphere consists mostly of water. Biosphere consists of mostly of the living organism, and then we have here crust, mantle, core, mostly the metallic or inorganic species. Okay, so the lithosphere consists of the crust and also upper layer of the mantle, the very thin layer, and then and unlike the hydrosphere and the atmosphere, the lithosphere contains a lot of elements, including alkali or alkaline earth and also transition metal elements. Okay, let's look at first the atmosphere. So the atmosphere is a thin layer of the gases that surrounds the Earth. So the Earth's atmosphere is a dynamic system that includes four layers. They are thermosphere, mesosphere, stratosphere, and also troposphere. Okay, so the temperature here of the atmosphere, it varies the layers. Okay, so if you see here at the troposphere, as the altitude increase, the temperature increase, and then while on the stratosphere, as the altitude increase, the temperature decrease. Okay, so mesosphere is similar to troposphere, and then thermosphere is similar to stratosphere. So you can see the difference in the pattern of the temperature as we increase in the altitude. Okay, so what is the function of the atmosphere? So first is to protect from the harmful radiation. So this is the function of the stratosphere. So from the sun we have the UV radiation, and then at the stratosphere we have this protective ozone layer that protects the Earth's surface from the harmful UV radiation. And then the next function is to moderate the surface temperature. So the Earth's temperature is stabilized by reabsorbing the ongoing or the outgoing heat as infrared irradiation. And then it provides a medium or air that allows organisms to exchange gases in order to survive or breathing. So it provides oxygen for animals, humans, and other organisms. And then it also provides carbon dioxide and nitrogen for plants. Okay. Okay, let's look at the troposphere. Troposphere is the closest to the Earth's surface. It's only about 11 kilometer high. The purpose of the troposphere is to support life. So it's where nearly all weather phenomena and cloud formation takes place. It contains about 75 to 80% of total mass of the atmosphere, and that nearly all water vapor and dust particles can be found here. And then you have to remember the temperature decreases with height. This is because of the decreasing influence of the radiation from the Earth's surface. And then decrease in temperature leads to relatively rapid mixing of the atmospheric component. So what it means here is that when you if, for example, if you emitted pollutant into the air, you will see that rapid mixing, meaning that the pollutant can be dispersed and made to a further distance. Okay, so we will discuss about this mixing in air pollution. Okay, so basically this is what happened in the troposphere. Okay, so it's only about 10 to 16 kilometers. So above here we have the stratosphere, and then at the troposphere we have so many types of gases: oxygen, nitrogen, argon, carbon dioxide, and trace gases. And then here we have many weather transformation occur. Okay, from raining to hot to snowing, and then we also have photochemical reaction occurring, and then we have here dispersion and mixing of air pollutants, and then we can also have turbulence, temperature inversion, and so on. Okay, we will discuss this in detail in air pollution. Okay, the next layer is the stratosphere. It's only about 11 to 50 kilometers from above the sea level, and the temperature increases with altitude. It contains only a small amount of water vapor and it is less dense, and the stratosphere is relatively cloud-free and less turbulence, less mixing and everything. Okay, because the purpose of this layer is to protect the surface from the UV radiation from the sun. Okay, so you need to understand what is the purpose of the ozone layer in the stratosphere. It's considered as good ozone layer. Okay, because it protects the surface from the UV light. Okay, so here is where the ozonation, or how the ozone layer protects the Earth's surface from the sun. Okay, so the sun is emitting the UV light. So now this is good ozone. Okay, beyond the stratosphere lie the mesosphere and the thermosphere. The Temperature in the mesosphere decreases with altitude because there is little ozone in the air to absorb solar radiation. While the thermosphere is a region of rapidly increasing temperature. This is because the relatively few gas molecules in this region have extremely high kinetic energy. And at an altitude of about 200 kilometers, temperature can reach as high as 1000 degrees Celsius. Next, this is the composition of the atmosphere. As I said, the majority of the gases in the atmosphere is nitrogen. Okay. Nitrogen, and also we have about 78% nitrogen and then about 21% oxygen. And also we have some minor gases such as argon, neon, helium, hydrogen, and so on. Okay. So this carbon dioxide, you have here carbon dioxide that can come from decomposition of organic matter. It can be released from the ocean, fossil fuel combustion, and so on. Methane can come from also come from the decomposition of organic matter or natural gas, seepage, for example, from land site. Nitrous oxide can come from internal combustion engines and so on. So these variable gases can come from either natural or man-made sources. Okay. In the atmosphere, we have so many chemicals that can occur. These are some of the example of atmospheric reaction. We can have photochemical reaction of hydrocarbons producing radicals that in the end can cause photochemical smoke. Okay, and then we can also have acid rain where the sulfur dioxide react with water and then to produce sulfuric acid. We can also have in the air, we do not only have gases, but we can also have particles. So reaction can also occur on the surface of the particles, okay? What we call particulate matter. Okay, maybe you know about PM 2.5 and PM 10. So these are particles with size of 2.5 and 10 micrometer. Okay. On the other hand, the hydrosphere includes all the water on or near the Earth's surface. This includes water in the oceans, lakes, rivers, wetlands, polar ice cape, soil, rock layers beneath the Earth's surface, and clouds. So all water or moisture inside the Earth is considered as hydrosphere. Even though we have a lot of water, source of water in the Earth, but only 1% are available for human consumption because the others are salt water, frozen water or ice water, and only 1% is fresh water. Okay, so why that is the need why we have to control or take care of our hydrosphere. Okay, this is the water cycles or hydrologic cycles that are occurring in the Earth. Okay, so the water cycle is actually a continuous movement of water through the environment by the process of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Okay, and we need sun for this process to occur. Yes, it's a very important energy for this water cycle to occur. Okay, here the sun provide energy for the water to evaporate into gases state, and then as it cools down, the water becomes a liquid again, and it condenses on dust particle in the air, and then it forms cloud. Okay, a cloud is a tiny, it's made up of tiny water droplets that collide with each other. So once the cloud becomes heavy with water, then the water cannot be controlled anymore. So then we have precipitation or rain. Okay, so the water now they fall on the earth in the form of rain, snow, hails, and etc. Okay, so and then this falling water from the precipitation or the rain can soak down, or they can go, they can enter the lakes, ocean, and etc., or they can seep through the groundwater. Okay, and then from the lakes and so on, also it can undergo surface runoff, and then it will return to the ocean or to the lake whatsoever. Okay, everything from the storage, from the groundwater, the cycle starts again. So basically, when this occurs, the water cycle occurs, so does the transformation or speciation of the pollutant that is emitted into the environment. Okay, so you have seen what are the transformation, the basic transformation of pollutant in the atmosphere. So now we have water, so it can also react with water, and the cycle continues. The pollutant can change into different species. Okay, for example here, we have here an example of reaction in a lake. Okay, so in the lake, we can divide the water body into two layers. Okay, one near the surface is where you have the oxygen rich layer. Okay, you have a lot of oxygen here at the top of or the near the surface of the water. You have a lot of oxygen. This layer is known as oxygen rich layer. And then you have at the bottom is where you have less oxygen. So this layer is known as oxygen deficient. This layer is much cooler as compared to the upper layer, because the upper layer is near to the irradiation of the sun. So it's and then also near to the gases. Okay, so you have a lot of oxygen. Near the surface, the reaction that can occur are such as photosynthesis. Okay, and then for the oxygen deficient layer near the surface of the sediment is where you can have solutes exchange. You can solute exchange, you have leaching, for example, some of the process uptake. Okay, so and then here also we can have some microbial action that does not need oxygen. Okay, you can have precipitation, acid-base reaction, and so on. Okay, so we discuss this in detail in water pollution. Next is the lithosphere, or we sometimes is also called as geosphere. So the lithosphere is the hard shell of the earth consisting of the crust and the upper part of the mantle. It is an average of 100 kilometers thick. It contains the minerals, rocks, and soils that humans have used for building materials, metal, and agriculture. This figure shows the rock cycle. So on the Earth's surface, the geosphere is composed of rocks, in turns made of various minerals and usually a thin layer of soil. So we have here igneous rocks thrust upward by the tectonic forces. They are broken down by weathering, either by physical, chemical, and biological processes. And this material is then deposited as sedimentary rock. And if you have heat and pressure, it will convert this sedimentary rock metamorphic rock. And then this process continues. The lithosphere is our main source of natural capital. What I mean by natural capital here is that it describes the resources or value of the environment, such as providing essential materials or absorbing waste. So the lithosphere is a crucial source of natural capital. It is a source of fuel such as natural gas, metals such as iron or copper, non-metals such as clay, sand, and gravel, plant nutrients such as phosphorus, and it's also a repository of waste. It absorbs of waste such as carbon dioxide from fuel combustion And the most important aspect of natural capital in the lithosphere is the ability of soil to support plant growth for food production. So soil is a crucial component of natural capital because all terrestrial organisms, including humans, depend upon it for their existence. So the soil are a complex mixture of inorganic materials such as clay, silt, gravel, and sand, decaying organic matter, water, air, and living organisms. These are all formed by the weathering of rocks. Soils are open systems that undergo continual exchange with the atmosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere. Okay. Soil also have high population of bacteria, fungi, and animal such as earthworm. Okay. The layer of productive soil on Earth's surface is extremely thin and subject to damage and erosion. So soil is the receptor of large quantities of pollutants such as particulate matter from power plant smokestacks, fertilizers, pesticides, and some other materials applied to soil often contribute to water and air pollution because these pollutants can be transported into this media. Soil is typically divided into layers called horizon. Each horizon has a distinct texture and composition that varies with different types of soil. You can have here, there is different types of horizon: O horizon, A horizon, E horizon, B horizon, and C horizon. And finally, bedrock. O horizon occurs, it comes from decay and decaying plant biomass. It's the first layer of the soil. Then the second layer is called A horizon, which is the topsoil. It's a layer of root growth, biodegradation, high organic content. Followed by E horizon is a layer that is weathered and leached, often by organic acid from the A horizon. And then you have the B horizon, which is a subsoil. It's a repository of organic matter, salts, and clay particles. You then have C horizon, which is the weathered parent rock, and finally the bedrock. This figure shows that the fine structure of soil, showing that it consists of solid, water, and air. Okay, so soil contains air spaces and generally a loose texture. But different types of soil will have different amount of air space and volume, water volume. So this is, you also have absorbed water layer outside the solid particles. Beneath the soil, you can have the excess water that goes to the groundwater. In the soils, there are many chemical and biochemical reactions that can occur due to the presence of water and air. Okay, living organisms constitute the biosphere. So you have through the photosynthesis of plant and algae, it is the basis of food chain. In addition to food, the biosphere is a crucial source of biomass for raw material and in the future for synthetic fuel. In addition, biospheres involved with geosphere or lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and even human through biogeochemical cycles. So these biogeochemical cycles involve important life elements including carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus. So we'll discuss that in the next chapter. A major consideration with respect to the biosphere is the effect of toxic substances on organisms. So toxicology chemistry addresses the relationship between the chemical nature of substances and their toxic effect. One of the important parameters that we measure in toxicological chemistry is the wide range of toxicities of various substances. So the LD50 values shown in this slide are the lethal dose in milligram toxic substance to kilogram of body mass estimated to kill 50% of test subjects. So for example here, we have diethyl hexyl phthalate or DEHP. Is a low toxicity plasticizers added to plastics such as polyvinyl chloride to make them more flexible. We have here malathion, which is an organophosphate insecticide. It's relatively safe because mammals can hydrolyze the molecules to safe materials, but not to insects. And then parathion, although it's effective, is highly biodegradable organophosphate insecticide. Is now banned because of its toxic effect. Tetrodotoxin is the toxin of the pufferfish. And then we have TCDD or 2378 tetrachlorodibenzoparadioxin is the infamous dioxin. It causes unsightly chloroacne skin condition in humans, but is deadly to some other species such as guinea pig. And lastly is botulinous toxin is produced by Botulinus bacteria. It's one of the most toxic substance known, but in dilute form has many medical uses and is commonly used in Botox treatment to remove skin wrinkles. So in terms of relative toxicities, we can consider this difference in toxicities. So if this big red circle represent a fatal dose of parathion organophosphate insecticide, which is now banned because of its toxicity, if not handled properly, the little black spot here represent the fatal dose of sarin, which is a organophosphate nerve gas. Okay, so there is a quite difference between parathion and also sarins. The amount of parathion that you need to take to consider as toxic is this big red circle, as compared to sarin, which if you take only a small dot here, it can cause a fatal death.